Asahi was an ugly, bullied, starving African child who was cursed with the stone god's blessing to destroy the entire world, and killed his mother before coming out of her. Throughout the years, all the other children tried bullying him to death, and even his father isekai'd himself for giving life to a demon. But when the kids were about to murder him, the earth god's powers activated, killing the other children in that instant. All of the villagers thought he was a worthless monster, so he was exiled from the village and chained to a rock for the rest of his life. His only way of survival was to eat all the animal shit he could find. But one day, he saw the most beautiful girl in the world, and she was the first one in 3,000 years to give him any food. But as she began leaving, she told him to keep this their little secret, and Asahi couldn't hold back his tears, because this was the first time a person showed him any kindness since he was born. Throughout the following months, Kaori began learning how to make him anything he wanted to eat, and tried to become the only friend he's ever had. So in all of his life, she slowly became the one sliver of warmth he wanted to protect. As the years passed, his body finally began growing and overcoming the curse, but when a drought caused a massive famine in the village, all the elders thought he was sucking the life out of the soil, and they swore to kill him. However, Kaori guarded him, screaming that he wasn't a monster, but the demons inside of the elders came out, and they began beating Kaori along with him. Although Asahi tried to protect the only friend he's ever made, an ugly, disgusting witch came from the crowd and stabbed Kaori in the back, killing her in that instant. When he saw the lifeless body of the girl he loved, his body unleashed the stone god within him, and he broke the chains that held him all those years, before killing the disgusting witch with the same boulder they tied him up to. Before he knew it, the entire village had been wiped out, but none of it could bring back Kaori, and he regretted not telling her how much he loved her sooner. So he gave her the flower she grew on his arm, and the blood from all the dead villagers grew into a sea of red equinoxes. Their mystical powers copied his soul into a different body, and a mysterious hot goddess awakened his forbidden powers to destroy the entire world. 4 billion years into the future, he was reborn as an ugly, disgusting, pathetic, worthless loser, with a miserable life that was even worse than his previous one. Because although he had new parents, they began abusing him again, to the point where he killed both of them with his powers, and gambled all of their life savings away. The worst part of all, however, was that he never learned how to talk to a single girl in the world, just like all you disgusting loser incels watching the video right now.
No, that one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
Being too broke to afford a shower, his home smelled like an anime convention. But while he was cooking ramen to avoid starvation, a rift split through space-time, and from inside, the hottest goddess appeared before his virgin eyes, without any plot armor. But as his ramen bowl dropped, she transformed into her smaller form and began slurping on his noodle. When he asked her who the fuck she was, she told him that she was Dora, and used her forbidden sucking technique to swallow all of his meat. However, he tried flushing her useless ass down the toilet. But no matter what he did, she kept reappearing to bother him. As he biked to class to get away from her, he wondered how he summoned a 3 million-year-old goddess, but she kept teleporting to follow him, saying she can make all of his wishes come true. However, he threw her worthless ass in front of Bus-kun, but she said that she would even give him her hot body if that's what he desired. However, he said her disgusting body was flatter than a surfboard, and managed to get away from her. In class, her disgusting face splashed onto his window, but even though he tried to close it, she begged him to make a contract with her, and kept calling him a moron in his desk. After all the bullshit he'd went through today, he screamed at her to shut the fuck up, shocking the entire class. So the teacher screamed that this attitude is why he's the only failure in the school, and everyone laughed at his worthless face. After sitting down, he realized he was the only one who can see her, so he decided to sneak out of the class while she was asleep. But while he was outside, some ugly bitch with a Karen haircut was waiting to see him, and ran up to give him a love letter. Just then, however, Dora appeared from his backpack, saying this is the only chance a failure like him would ever get at dating a girl. So Asahi snapped, throwing his backpack down, and screaming at her to get her ugly ass away from him. The poor girl ran in tears, and Asahi realized that he was going to be a virgin for the rest of his life. A few hours later, he came with a box of snacks to give to Dora, begging her to leave him alone in exchange for the food. However, she began to cry, saying that a goddess who gets rejected by her master is fated to wander alone for the rest of eternity. So before she disappeared, she asked him if she could take one last walk with him, promising to cherish their final moments together. As they walked around, she held his disgusting hand and transferred her mystical energy to his eyes, allowing him to see the truth about their world. All around him, an aura emanated around the people he saw, and she told him that everyone has the power to become a summoner. However, he was the last summoner to ever be born in history, and possessed the power of the 12 gods to destroy the world, or save it if that's what he desired. From inside the tree, a cat called Meow appeared, and Dora asked him if he would change the destiny of the universe to become a summoner, and explore the new world with her. As he reached out his hand, she took it and locked their fingers, forming a seal between them, and destroying the flow of gravity in that instant. After their contract was sealed, she made fun of him because his ugly ass fell for her trap, and now she wouldn't ever leave him alone. However, Asahi was glad that things turned out this way, because she had now become his slave, and needed to obey every command he gave her. But after hearing those words, she jumped onto his back and summoned her wings, flying him around the city with her powers. But after realizing how beautiful the world truly was, he barely managed to stop her from crashing them into a building, and she was about to pass out from using all of her energy. They began slowly falling down, and later that night, Dora thought it was a miracle that they were even alive. But the power went out in his house. After all, he hadn't been paying any of his bills after losing all his money in crypto, so Dora decided to awaken a secret power inside of him, and an energy sphere ascended to the sky, exploding into thousands of illuminating particles. As they fell down, they began healing his body, and Asahi asked her if she was really a goddess, so she decided to reveal everything. 3 million years into the past, a cataclysmic war between the gods and titans ensued, and the entire world was destroyed. Among the war, she was chained in the middle of the void, and was isolated alone throughout all these years. The memories of all the pain she went through fried her worthless brain, so Asahi tried to make sure she was alright, but realized he was finally getting a break from her. However, he covered her up, and wondered how his new life as a summoner was going to go, not knowing there was a mysterious hot girl spying on him from the sky. The following day at school, Dora was showing off her hot body, telling him not to worry because he's the only one who gets to see her like this. Just then, the news announced that a mysterious, ugly, disgusting loser was seen flying across the sky, and Asahi's poor ass wondered why even the newscasters were roasting him. After 3 million years of no plot development, Dora wanted to feel a white sticky liquid on her body, so she asked him to put his lotion all over her back.
Yes! 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 Yes!
But he put on his headphones and ignored everything she said. She begged him to rub it on her, saying she'd allow him to massage her body, but just then, a tentacle monster took her hot body and began eating her out. Dora threw the bottle of lotion onto Asahi, but he realized that she had gotten completely eaten out, and it spat her plot armor onto his face. Just then, the plant began rolling away, and although Asahi continued chasing it, Dora said she couldn't use any of her powers without being next to her summoner. So as he leaped to catch her, the plant monster blinded his eyes and sent him crashing into the wall, narrowly avoiding his plot getting destroyed. Eventually, the plant managed to escape into a festival, but as Asahi tried sneaking around the others, he realized that he had completely lost her. But before he could escape, some massive meathead jumped from the sky, telling him to apologize for rejecting his hot sister in such a disgusting manner. However, Asahi said his sister looked like she fell from heaven, because her face was even more fucked up than her disgusting brother's, and ran away.
You're a victim!
While he kept running, Dora's voice began fading, and she told him that she would die soon if he didn't reach her. Just then, some random child said that Asahi had been misguided, and asked him if he could interest him in becoming a Jehovah's Witness. However, Asahi jumped on his worthless face, saying he wasn't interested in his pyramid scheme. As he got closer to the cactus, he jumped onto it, but realized that it was an innocent girl. So he tried listening to the musical background coming from Dora's ears, and knew there was only one band who created music that awful. When he got to the Screamo concert, he felt Dora's presence getting closer, but she stopped responding and was beginning to lose all of her energy. As he thought about how to save her, he began screaming that he was happy getting rid of her worthless ass. So when she heard that, she regained all her energy and began beating up the plant to get out. After opening its mouth, Asahi climaxed from seeing the greatest plot in all of anime, and knew something was going to be long, and it definitely wasn't this day. After he covered her up, the plant ran back to a hot girl in the distance, and as Dora launched to beat them up, the girl vanished into thin air. Although Dora wanted to follow them, Asahi told her that they would find them a different day, because the girl seemed extremely dangerous, and was able to control her summon while hiding. At the same time, an old man told the girl to never let Asahi get away, because he needed to see the last god's powers, And after she left, he was excited for the moment when Asahi reincarnates in his godly creation. The following day at school, the hottest anime thighs began walking towards Asahi, and although all the guys wanted to see her, she ignored them and walked towards Asahi's desk, giving him a note before leaving. When she was gone, the guys opened the letter, reading that she would be waiting for him in the woods after school. When classes were over, all of them followed Asahi to see what he would be doing with the girl. But the sis-con screamed at him for rejecting his sister and stealing the hottest girl away from him. As he kept walking away for hours, he eventually arrived at the forest. But the guys had still been following him. A few minutes later, he saw Meow again, and told her to stay careful in the forest, glad she was still safe. Eventually, vines began appearing to tangle all the worthless guys, letting Asahi go inside alone. However, he realized the destination she took him to was a dead end, but just then, the trees were forced apart. The same way he was going to force apart Dora's leg. After walking through the path, he saw the hot girl once again, but the plant told him to hand over the spirit or he would lose his life. However, Asahi said he wouldn't give over his new pet, saying he was attached to Dora. But those words angered the girl as she threw a viney rose towards him, scratching his cheeks from the wind. Just then, the plant extended into a viney sword that crushed the ground, and Dora nearly passed out before trying to find a weapon to use. As Asahi kept dodging, she told him that she would bring her weapon soon. But the mysterious girl summoned a giant root from the ground, and as she waved her hand down, thousands of plant blades began rushing towards him, and vines began penetrating the ground to slash him down. The plant thought they could win this fight with just 30% of their power, so the girl decided to summon a beast from the ground, and a massive tree appeared. As Asahi looked at the tree, he realized that he had the most worthless summon. But before it punched Dora to crush her, she managed to narrowly evade it, and began flying away as the tree kept chasing her. However, two vines restrained her, and as the girl signaled for the tree to end her, he rushed to protect Dora, getting crushed under the tree's palm. When the dust settled, they realized that Asahi was now dead too, but a circular light shined through, and both of them came out with Dora's special cleavers. The plant told the girl to use all of her powers, so the tree readied its fist to strike towards Asahi. However, Asahi asked Dora to lend him her power, and after he punched towards the tree, its hands were frozen before it got pushed away. But when it tried attacking him, Asahi used Dora's crystal wings to evade the tree's attacks, and managed to land on its arm. As soon as he did, he activated his crystal shoes, and began rushing up its arms while slashing it down. After completely stripping the tree down, he leaped back before rushing forward, and jumped with all of his power to break the tree's core, destroying it in that instant. Once the dust settled, Dora ran over to hug Asahi, wondering how he knew how to destroy the tree, so he revealed that he has a lot of experience beating wood. As the girl went over to make the tree disappear, Asahi thought she was even prettier up close, and Dora ran forward to eliminate her for stealing her boyfriend. However, Asahi protected the girl, and when Dora wondered why he was siding with the enemy, he revealed that she wasn't even using all her powers in the fight, and that she could easily crush them. Just then, Dora realized that an army of tree monsters were waiting to destroy them, and the plant said only Asahi passed the test. With Dora desperate to make peace, she began suggesting that they follow them home for dinner. However, the plant thought her worthless face should be crushed, and said that they weren't hungry. Just then, the girl's stomach began to growl, and they realized that she was actually starving. So that night, as they ate dinner together, the plant thought Asahi's food was the best he's ever had, and began saying that they were better off as friends. When Asahi wondered why they were attacked in the first place, the plant revealed that they were the city's guardians, and said that they actually took him for an enemy. The plant tried suggesting that he joins their team, but the girl stuffed her meat into his mouth and left the house, so Asahi followed her. Outside, Asahi tried using his best pickup lines, thinking he might get lucky with her, so she told him that her name was Hana. As she gave him a dark rose, she said she would be watching him and Dora, hoping they would be on their best behavior. Just then, both spirits appeared, and Dora thought he was about to get a proper date this time. However, as she left, Asahi revealed that her flower actually meant that he belongs to her. A few days later in class, a giraffe mysteriously stuck his face inside, and all the students were creeped out by the sight. As they wondered if there was an animal invasion, a raccoon jumped into the class, and a girl nearly shat her pants as several raccoons started destroying the room, even pulling down the useless teacher. Just then, Asahi discovered that more animals were running through the hallway, and started running off too. As they arrived at the exit, they spotted a panda and Asahi managed to step on his brakes. However, he decided to squeeze himself outside and realized that the entire city was in f***ing chaos. At a basketball court, a chimp caught the ball and started playing like the next Michael Jordan, even scoring his first attempt. However, the boys were creeped out and ran away instantly. At the same time, an army of alpacas ran before Asahi, and an instructor screamed for the students to head for the school gym. However, Dora began pulling him away, saying that he wasn't supposed to hide like every other disgusting loser since he was already a summoner. Just then, Asahi noticed all the animals in the city and wondered how this became the animal kingdom. Before his eyes, a reporter revealed that the animals escaped from the downtown zoo and warned everyone to head for the nearest evacuation center, but a parrot knocked her for opening her disgusting mouth. At that moment, Asahi noticed a girl on the street and thought she would be devoured by the lion, so he tackled her to the ground. As he wondered why she was staying so close to the beasts, the girl grew angry and he noticed the cat before him. At once, he caught it and tried taking it home, but it clawed at his face and returned to the girl. Dora thought the girl was strange and told Asahi to be careful around her. At the same time, Hana and her plant appeared on a rooftop, realizing the girl summons monsters. Hana thought it would be an easy win, and they jumped towards the ground. At that instant, the plant spat flaming bullets and smoke erupted around them. As they landed, Hana summoned Black Rose and vines restrained the animals, but the girl escaped just in time. So with a snap, a large root pulled them up and hung them mid-air. As the plant demanded to know why she freed all the animals, the girl said that this was always their land before the humans took over. The plant thought she was speaking trash and told her to hand over her summoned spirit, but she demanded for her animals to be released instead. As she grew angry, she appeared behind Hana with a kick, but she blocked her strike. As the girl prepared a powerful claw, Hana cast her away, but she returned instantly and nearly ripped her hair off. Impressed with her attempt, the girl started clawing at her face, but Hana dodged everything as they continued fighting back and forth. Just then, Dora drew her cleavers, wondering whom they should support, but Asahi suggested that they sit this one out. At the same time, the girl continued clawing at Hana and eventually slit her face, forcing her to back away. Even so, the girl would not back down, so Hana summoned vines to block her attack, managing to repel her. As she tried to whip her, the girl jumped away and dodged the whip, but her ankle was caught, and Hana pulled her through the building until she slammed the ground. Even so, the girl would not surrender and began charging at her, but Hana started swinging her whip. As the girl activated the eyes of eagles, Hana's movement became slow to her and she began drawing closer. In an instant, Hana summoned a large vine, but the girl activated the speed of leopards and started flashing around like light. Realizing her opportunity, she activated the might of bears, but Hana evaded getting crushed. With ferocious power, the bear flipped the road, but Hana managed to stop it with her whip, and her plant told her that it was starting to lose his strength. So she summoned a tree monster to end the fight, and it rushed to slam rubble on the bear. However, it would not surrender, and they locked hands in a tussle. Just then, Hana's plant penetrated the tree, and she fortified it with a spell. As its eyes glowed, it grew extra hands and rammed a flurry of punches into the bear before punching it away. Before it fell, the tree caught it and squeezed it in a bear hug until it scattered into 100 pieces. However, the parts remerged